Towering buildings, miles of subways, 700,000 structures, millions of gallons of gasoline in transit, tons of explosives in use, and 578 miles of waterfront along which are docked the largest passenger and cargo vessels in the world, this is a serious problem. To match this tremendous responsibility, the New York Fire Department offers the city a group of men with as thorough training as can be found anywhere in the world. The Fire Department maintains for this purpose its own fire college, with a training personnel of experts. This picture will show briefly some of the training activities. Every member of the department starts his career in the fire department from this point. These men from all walks of life will soon begin their careers as firemen. They have passed the civil service examination, qualified as to character, and have been found physically fit by the Fire Department Medical Board. We see them entering the fire college building. Some are happy with the thought of a steady job. Others are wondering whether or not they'll be able to withstand the arduous duty required of firemen. Subordinates in most large organizations point at firemen. He is telling them they must be loyal to the fire department and the people of the city of New York, that a fireman's life is fraught with danger, that they will be called upon to perform feats of endurance and daring, and they must be ready and willing to perform any duty ordered by their superiors, regardless of the danger. Each man with his right hand raised repeats after the commissioner the oath of office, in which he solemnly swears to perform his duty to the best of his ability. Finally, the commissioner appoints them as probationary firemen for a trial period of 90 days. The newly appointed men are now listening to Assistant Chief McKenna and receiving some good fatherly advice on how to conduct themselves as members of the department. He tells them that hard work and study are essential to advancement, that it is more important to be a good practical fireman than to be a book student, that their physical welfare and safety are carefully looked after by their superior officers, who will not require them to expose themselves to danger unless it is to save human life. He quotes the rules and regulations by which they will be governed during their probationary period and tells them what has happened to some previous appointees who did not believe in constituted authority. They are finally assigned to fire companies at which they will perform fire duty when they are not attending the probationary fireman school. The fire college consists of 6 schools, one of which is the probationary fireman school. All newly appointed men are assigned to this school for a 60-day intensive training period. This class consists of nearly 350 recruits. Therefore, the drill master must have assistants. These assistants, like the drill master, are men who have had long and hard experience in the firefighting profession. We see the new men are eager and anxious to go. They have equipped themselves with the necessary training uniform, on the back of which are numbers similar to those worn by college football players. They will soon be introduced to hundreds of specially designed firefighting tools and special equipment, which they must learn to master before being accepted into the department. Each day at the drill yard starts with an inspection. So will every day of their life as firemen. The uniform equipment, department property, and the personal appearance of each member is carefully checked by Captain Kelly. Chief Ryan has evidently made some progress with these youngsters. We see they have been taught to receive orders. Their minds and bodies must be kept active, thus the daily calisthenic drill. Well, it looks like they're having a good time, doesn't it? But all this jumping and bending and twisting isn't just for fun. Training of this sort develops them. Carelessness or recklessness is not permitted. Although the training is perilous, accidents and injuries are few, thanks to the watchful eyes of the instructors. Climbing to dizzy height requires confidence, and not all of these men are so endowed. Many of them have never climbed anything but a flight of stairs, but they will soon learn. Here we see them walking across ladders 25 feet from the ground. Just a few weeks ago, they started this sort of training on ladders only 2 feet off the ground. A little trapeze work also instills confidence in them. And besides, this training comes in very handy should they ever find themselves cut off by fire. Thousands of persons are carried from buildings in this fashion each year. The dummies you see weigh 150 pounds each, dead weight. The rookies are taught to pick them up unassisted, place them across their shoulders, and proceed to the ground. proper balance of the weight is necessary, or something will happen. Therefore, considerable time is devoted to this instruction and to climbing up and down the ladders with their supposedly precious burdens. Rope is used extensively by firemen. One of the most difficult problems in training is to teach men how to tie knots. The instructions on handling scaling ladders start with lessons on how to approach the ladder and with which hand to pick it up. Raising, placing, and climbing these ladders is an art, and like swimming, when mastered, is never forgotten. During the training period, the rookies are not permitted to pick up a tool or implement with the left hand, when by picking it up with the right hand, its purpose will be more quickly accomplished. Hence this form of practice drill in picking up hose and connecting them together. Suspended in the air by a rope, we see the rookie getting his first experience of dangling in the air. This training starts from the first story level and prepares him for jumping out into space from greater heights as the training progresses. Many days of the training period are devoted to the difficult task of learning how to use scaling ladders. Any nervous condition existing in a rookie before the training starts must be dispelled. This is accomplished by confining the climbing to the lower stories for days, and then progressing to the upper stories and finally to the roof. These ladders weigh about 38 pounds each and are used to rescue people who may be trapped above the reach of the ordinary ladder. Rescues by means of these ladders are difficult. There are, however, many persons alive today who owe their existence to this form of fire department training. Before entering the school, the rookies have no experience with scaling ladders because they're used only by fire departments. This is a sort of consolation to the instructors, for there are no faults to be corrected. It takes weeks of hard work on the part of the rookies to accomplish the task of building a chain of ladders to the roof. When he finally arrives at the top of the uppermost ladder and spreads out his arms, he feels that he has successfully mastered the most difficult. Descending these ladders and breaking down the chain is quite as difficult as ascending. This is one of the most difficult scaling ladder problems. It is termed standing on sills. Select any one of the 3 rows of windows and you will see one scaling ladder and 2 rookies progressively climbing up the front of the building. Hook and ladder companies are equipped with all kinds of ladders. Engine companies are equipped with only scaling ladders. Should an engine company arrive before a hook and ladder company at a fire at which persons are trapped in the upper part of the building, this method of effecting the rescues would be resorted to. In addition to standing on sills, the men are trained to straddle sills. The procedure, not pictured here, is for one man to take a scaling ladder, place it in the nearest available window, climb to the window, straddle the sill, and raise the ladder to the window of the next story. Then continue the same operation to other windows until he has arrived at his objective. The result of instilling confidence in the rookie by suspending him on a rope from the first story window is plainly evident. Here we see the rookie under the watchful eyes of the instructor, making a few special knots around his belt hook and stepping out into space. You see him descend gracefully and safely to the street. This evolution teaches him how to save himself should he be trapped above the fire. As stated before, one of the most difficult problems is to teach men how to tie knots properly. Most rookies have been tying knots of one sort or another for years. Such knots generally have no name and no meaning. Once tied, the only way to release them is by cutting. The expert handling of rope can only be attained by learning how to pick up a rope. Each kind of knot requires a different approach. Here we see them sliding in pairs, an evolution necessary when men are trapped above the reach of ladders. Here we show how ladders are hauled to a roof. It doesn't look difficult, and as a matter of fact isn't when you know the proper method. Teamwork is necessary. Pulling the ropes must be in unison. In actual practice, many obstacles such as awnings, signs, window extensions, and so forth must be reckoned with. Here is where the knots must be tied securely, but not so securely as to delay untying them. The ladder must be perfectly balanced, and when reaching a certain point at the roof, it must be quickly broken down and drawn in. At the same time, a hose line is being drawn to the roof. Pulling heavy hose lines to the roof requires strength and endurance. They must be fastened properly with a special nuts to prevent them from slipping away or from bursting due to the weight of the water. Lowering those heavy ladders from the roof is as difficult as hauling them up. The rookies receive careful instruction in this operation. Speed and accuracy are considered important to efficient training. Water must be quickly conveyed from the pumping engines to the fire. Here we see the rookies making a speedy stretch of a hose line by way of the fire escape to the 6th floor. This operation is performed many times each day during the training period, and rightly so, for it's performed at nearly every actual fire. The instructor carefully watches to see that each man has taken his proper position and that he grasps the hose line at the correct spot. If mistakes are made, the operation is repeated until each man definitely understands his position. You might note the long fire escape hook, which precedes the nozzle up the fire escape. This tool greatly accelerates the movements of hose lines stretched up fire escapes. Life nets, such as you see here, are part of the equipment of all hook and ladder trucks. You will note the position of the rookie as he glides through space toward the net. The object is to land into the net in a sitting position so the strain will be distributed evenly all over the net. If he lands feet first, the impact will be at one point and may rupture the net. When ready to jump, the rookie steps off the platform, raises both legs on the line with his waist as he's descending, raises his arms horizontal with his shoulders, and strikes the center of the net in a sitting position. The art of lifting a person and bearing him to safety is shown here. Considerable time is devoted to these drills. For an actual fire practice, the men are called upon very frequently to perform this duty. Traffic conditions today are of grave concern to the city authorities and also the public. The stretching of hose lines at fires add to the traffic problem. The evolution being performed here, called the bridging of hose lines, is the fire department's contribution to assist the traffic problem. This is not as simple as it may look. Ropes must be properly applied and knotted to assure stability of the ladders and the safety of those who may drive beneath them. The department has 158 area ladders, most of which will reach a height of 85 feet. By means of quick raising mechanism, they can be raised in a few seconds. They are shaky, too, but this fellow doesn't mind it. Neither do the others, for they've been taught the proper method of climbing. You will notice he looks upward, not at his feet. That is one of the lessons. Here is a rescue. A person is being taken from an upper floor. Will they get him down safely? Yes. Once the firemen get you out onto the ladder, you cannot get away. They never get excited. Certain grips or holds are applied, and cautiously they descend with their burden to the ground. Many persons have been saved from fire in this manner, and many of them were hysterical. If they fought too hard, thereby endangering the life of the rescuer took care of the situation, but always managed to carry his burden safely to the ground. You are now looking at the same rescue pictured from below. You can note the coolness and care exercised by the rookies performing this evolution. It is a serious violation of fire department ethics to become excited while undergoing training, and much more so when performing actual fire duty. Here we see them in a drill of picking up lengths of hose, always in the proper manner. The men proceed to the roof of the drill tower with these rolled up lengths on their shoulders. They travel in pairs and relieve each other of the hose at fixed points. In late years, chemicals have taken an active part in commercial industries, presenting serious hazards to the fire department. Chemicals getting out of control develop dangerous and deadly gases. The department has 4 rescue companies especially equipped to handle any situation, but all members must be instructed and trained to use these intricate smoke helmets. One of the most important features is to teach the students to fit the masks properly to their body and to learn how to walk up and down stairs and ladders with such equipment. Smoke is the barrier between the hose streams and the fire. The rookies must be taught to assimilate smoke. Here we see one being removed from the smoke vault. He is not overcome, but he needs a little treatment. Because thousands of firemen are overpowered by smoke each year, lessons in first aid and resuscitation has been made a part of the curriculum. Instruction to ventilators is also a part of the school's activities. Not only have the lives of many firemen been saved by expert first aid treatment, but also those of many other persons. The ladder is one of the fire department's most important pieces of equipment. At least one ladder is used at every fire. Oftentimes people laugh when the firemen place a short ladder against a high building, and there is no apparent reason for it. A trained fireman knows the reason. He knows if a ladder is needed for an emergency, the ladder standing against the building is a better ladder than the one on a truck 200 feet away. In training and in actual practice, raising ladders also means raising eyes. Eyes must be constantly focused on the top of the ladder. The bottom of the ladder never leaves you, but the top will. The 35-foot ladders used in this instruction drill weigh 150 pounds each. They must be raised, carried, and placed in position in the shortest possible time. More persons are rescued from fires each year by means of this type of ladder than by any other. Generally, these ladders are raised by 4 men, 2 at the butt and 2 on the side. But the training also includes the raising by 3 men, 2 men, and 1 man, respectively. The fire department builds all its own ladders, except those that come in with new trucks. It also repairs all its own ladders. Confining a fire to the point of origin and the safety of the firemen at fires very often depends upon the quality of hose. The life of the best hose would be short if it is not properly cared for, and that is the reason for the instruction on how to coil hose and to change position of the bends each time it is used. Proper or improper distribution of water on a fire is the difference between a slight loss or a considerable loss. Water cannot be used indiscriminately by an efficient department. It should only be discharged upon fire and not on smoke. This is the reason for very definite instructions on the direction of hose streams. While the instructions being given, the streams are directed at the scuppers, which are like a bull's eye, and which carry the water away. Teaching the rookies the proper way to hold hose lines is part of the curriculum. These men are not holding the line properly. A quick increase in pressure or a backdraft will wrench the hose line from their hands, and the line will squirm and kick around like a wild snake and probably hurt someone. The instructor, Captain Flannery, has called their attention to it. Yes, there is a right way to hold a hose line and many wrong ways. Written examinations are held at the conclusion of each course. Evidently, some of the papers have not been satisfactory, and the student is being informed by Assistant Chief McKenna that it will be necessary to attend another session. The men must not forget the teachings of the probationary fireman school. They must remember those and more. Here we see a scene in a firehouse. Each day at an appointed hour, the members of the company are assembled in the apparatus room to go through an extensive drill. The Fire Hazard Inspector School is another school of the Fire College. The students attending this school are regular uniformed firemen whose duty it is to inspect all the buildings in their respective company districts to check and report on fire hazards. The men are selected by their own company commanders for this important work and attend this school for a period of about 8 weeks on their own time. Deputy Chief Michael Conway, in command of the Division of Fire Prevention and the Division of Combustibles, is giving instructions on air conditioning and refrigeration, 2 problems which concern the fire department very much. In 1938, 790 students were graduated from this school. The fire hazard inspectors, approximately 300 of them, attend this demonstration on the dangers of gasoline. The instructor has no fear of gasoline or its vapors, for he thoroughly understands them. However, he finds it difficult to convey these ideas to the class, for they have very often seen the results of careless use of this product. Gasoline vapor, when ignited, is more destructive than dynamite, and the instructor impresses this fact upon the men with the aid of charts. If you will watch the instructor closely, you will notice he never takes his eyes off the demonstrating equipment, which indicates that he, too, is aware of its danger. The Motor and Pump Operator School is also one of the schools of the Fire College. The men who attend this school are seasoned firemen who are selected by the respective company commanders to drive the apparatus and operate the pumps for discharge of hose streams. The students attend this school on their own time for a period of about 60 days. All the members attending the school are subjected to a physical examination for ailments which may impair their driving ability. They are re-examined frequently for fear any such ailments may develop. Instructions are given in the operation and care of all types of motors and pumps used in the department. These instructions are given with the aid of cross-sectional views of motors and pumps and their relative machinery. The operation of a pump on fire apparatus is much different from the operation of any other kind of pump. Firefighters have no choice of location or weather conditions. The pump may be at an unusual angle. The weather may be sub-zero, with the spray from hose strings falling all around and with darkness adding to the difficulty. You can see that each group receiving instruction has but a few men. This gives them a better opportunity to assemble around the demonstrating apparatus and assimilate the teaching of the instructor. Only members who have qualified in this school are permitted to drive and operate the pump on the apparatus. The pump operator must know hydraulics so that he may be able to determine loss of pressure through friction and the pressure required to raise water in tall buildings. Here we see the class assembled around the standpipe system installed at the college. They must know how these systems function in order to understand thoroughly how water is supplied to the upper floors of high structures. Piloting these long hook and ladder trucks through traffic in New York City has been a sort of amazement to most New Yorkers. The fire department is fortunate, for there has been comparatively few accidents with these trucks. Acting Battalion Chief Dugan is seen giving instructions to a group of chauffeurs and tillermen. It is also his duty to give them instructions on how to raise the aerial ladders, which are part of the equipment of these trucks. Perhaps the most important school of the Fire College is the Officers' School. All junior officers are assigned to this school for a period of about 14 weeks. They attend on their time off. The instruction and demonstrations cover every phase of firefighting and include 35 subjects. So that all junior officers may benefit from the experience and knowledge of the senior chief officers, the instruction is given by officers who have had long experience in fighting certain classes of fires. Each instructor specializes and is an expert in the subject on which he teaches. The teachings at the Fire College are not limited to members of the New York Fire Department. Since its organization, 275 officers from out-of-town fire departments, representing 114 cities and towns in 25 states and 6 foreign countries, have attended and were graduated from this school. Here we see Deputy Chief Heffernan explaining to the class the methods of extinguishing fires on ships and piers. The nozzle he fondles is an invention of his own and is used for quickly extinguishing fires in the holds of ships. Of course, when we speak of fires on piers and ships, we naturally must think of the Fireboat fleet. This fleet consists of 10 powerful firefighting vessels, upon which depend the safety of 578 miles of waterfront property and thousands of vessels which ply in the water surrounding New York and those which dock at our piers. All of the boats are equipped with two-way radio, station WNYF, by which the movement and operations of the boats can be supervised from any point within a radius of 50 miles around New York City. The pictures here show the latest and finest boat of the fleet, named the Firefighter. It has a water discharge capacity of 21,000 gallons of water per minute for firefighting purposes. A study of this boat and the other boats are a part of the college curriculum. The class of lieutenants are getting a detailed description of the workings of the boat, which includes the propelling mechanism and the water discharge machinery. The firefighting tower, which you see being raised, extends 55 feet above the water line and can be raised in position and operated in half minutes. The tower is equipped with a 3-inch nozzle and can discharge 3,300 gallons, or about 13 tons of water per minute at 150 pounds pressure. This is the kind of firefighting equipment that keeps our city safe from fires. Frequent visits to the Fire College are made by classes of students from nearby colleges and universities. Accompanied by their professors, they receive first-hand information of fire protection problems from members of the Fire College staff. They make a careful study of the firefighting equipment displayed at the college, which includes cross-section cutaway views of standpipe and sprinkler systems, commercial and household refrigerating systems, air conditioning systems, gasoline tanks, truck heads, and stream testing and hose testing machines. The students are always intensely interested in especially designed equipment, much of which has been